Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're breaking down the cost of living in Timonium, Maryland. So if you're researching a move to the area, or maybe you're just curious about how far your money goes here compared to other parts of Maryland or even the country, this should give you a clear picture. Now, this video isn't based on my personal opinion, but it's based on research. And with that being said, let's get into the video. So we're gonna go over housing costs, transportation, utilities, groceries, healthcare, and a few other day-to-day expenses that you may want to budget for. And all of this is based on publicly available data as of early 2025. So always double check for the most recent numbers if you're watching this later on. So first, let's start with housing, since that's usually the biggest line item in most people's budgets. Now, Timonium is a suburban community located in Baltimore County, about 20 minutes north of downtown Baltimore. According to recent sales data, the median home price in Timonium is roughly $475,000. That is higher than the Maryland state median, which currently sits closer to $400,000, and well above the national median, which is around $360,000, depending on the source. Of course, prices will vary depending on what you're looking for. You'll find a mix of older split-level homes, colonials, and townhomes, and newer builds in certain pockets. Condos and smaller homes may start in the low 300s, while larger single-family homes or homes with more land can push closer to $600,000 or even more than that. Now, rental options in Timonium are somewhat limited compared to nearby areas like Towson or Baltimore City, but when they are available, one-bedroom apartments tend to range between $1,600 to $1,900 a month, and two-bedrooms usually land around $2,000 to $2,300 per month, depending on the amenities and the location. Now, let's talk about property taxes. In Baltimore County, the average property tax rate is about 1.10% of assessed home value, which is lower than some other counties in Maryland. So for a $475,000 home, you're probably going to be looking at an annual property tax bill of around $5,225. Though that can vary depending on the assessment associated with the house and any applicable credits or exemptions that you may have. It's always a good idea to verify with the county or a local title company, especially if you're budgeting for escrow. Next, let's talk about utilities. Utility costs in Timonium tend to fall around the national average based on estimates from the U.S. Energy Information Administration and local utility providers. Electricity and natural gas combined average around $200 to $250 per month for a typical single-family home. Water and sewer, though, is through Baltimore County and generally runs $50 to $80 per month, depending on the usage. Trash and recycling are included with property taxes for most residential homes, so it's not something you pay out of pocket on a monthly basis. Now, internet service with providers like Xfinity or Verizon Fios typically range from $60 to $90 per month, depending on your plan and whether you're bundling services. Now let's talk about transportation. Timonium is very car dependent for most errands, although it does have access to the light rail with a station near Timonium Fairgrounds. This line runs south into Baltimore City and can be helpful if you're commuting into downtown. With that being said, most residents do rely on personal vehicles. Maryland's average gas price as of early 2025 is around $3.40 a gallon. Vehicle insurance in Baltimore County specifically averages roughly $1,300 to $1,800 a year, depending on your provider, car type, and driving history. Tolls may also be a consideration if you're commuting towards areas with I-95 or crossing major bridges. Now, public transit riders using the light rail can expect to pay roughly $2 per ride or $74 a month for a monthly pass. Now, in regards to parking in Timonium, parking is typically available, and most homes do include driveways or garages. Now, commercial areas do tend to have free surface parking or private lots. Now, let's talk about groceries. When it comes to groceries, Timonium does have access to a variety of stores. You've got Wegmans, Safeway, Trader Joe's, Giant, and Aldi, all within a short drive. Grocery stores that are in Maryland are typically above the national average, just slightly, but not by a lot. Based on 2025 grocery data, a gallon of milk is going to average about $4.20. A loaf of bread is going to be around $3.50. A dozen eggs is about $3.75, and chicken breast per pound is going to be roughly $5. A typical grocery store bill for a household of two might run between $450 to $600 per month, depending on eating habits and where you shop. Dining out in Timonium also varies, because you're going to find everything from fast casual chains to locally owned restaurants and bistros. So a fast food combo meal would roughly run between $10 and $12. But if you're sitting down for a dinner for two, with entrees and drinks, it'll probably run you between $60 and $80. And if you're going to a coffee shop or maybe a cafe, usually a drink will range between $4 and $7. Now let's talk about healthcare. Healthcare costs do vary by provider and insurance, but Timonium residents have access to nearby medical centers like GMBC, University of Maryland St. Joseph Medical Center, and other private practices. Maryland's average monthly health insurance premium for individual plans is currently around $390 to $550 per month before subsidies based on state exchange data. Routine doctor visits in this area generally fall between $100 to $200 without insurance, and urgent care copays range from $35 to $75 depending on your plan. Now, pharmacies like CVS, Walgreens, and Rite Aid are easily accessible throughout the area. And if you're factoring in childcare, you can expect to pay around $1,200 to $1,800 per month for full-time daycare in a licensed center. Now, if you're looking for a private babysitter or maybe a nanny, depending on the experience and schedule, that'll likely be between $15 an hour to $25 per hour. Now, Timonium is a part of the Baltimore City Public School System, which includes nearby schools like Pinewood Elementary and Ridgewood Middle School. And there are also several private schools in the area, including St. Paul's School and the Odyssey School, as well as others, with tuition ranging widely from $8,000 to over $20,000 a year, depending on where you send your children. Next, let's talk about entertainment and fitness. Now, Timonium is home to the Maryland State Fairgrounds, which hosts the annual state fair and other events throughout the entire year. You'll also find local gyms, yoga studios, golf courses, and parks like County Home Park and Padonia Park Club nearby. Gym memberships at places like Planet Fitness or Merit Clubs typically are going to range from $30 to $90 per month depending on the facility and the services. If you're going to the movies, movie tickets are probably going to be between $13 and $16, and many residents do enjoy nearby destinations like Towson Town Center, Hunt Valley Town Center, and downtown Baltimore for shopping, dining, and events. In conclusion, for housing, if you're looking to purchase, $475,000 is the median price for a home. If you're looking to rent, you'll likely be paying between $1,600 and $2,300 per month. In regards to property taxes, it is approximately 1.110% in Baltimore County, and for utilities, you can expect to pay between $250 to $350 a month combined. For transportation, a lot of people will rely on their cars. The average insurance in the area is between $1,300 and $1,800 a year, but don't forget there is also access to the light rail. For groceries, they are slightly above the national average. And in regards to healthcare, that is in line with state averages. There are also several hospitals and clinics nearby. If you have children, you can think about childcare. That cost will likely range between $1,200 to $1,800 per month, depending on who you're hiring as the provider. In regards to entertainment and fitness, gym memberships and local activities are in moderate range. Now, compared to Maryland's overall cost of living, Timonium does tread a bit higher in housing, but remains within a moderate to upper range when it comes to the overall expenses. Now, if you're planning a move to Maryland and want a full relocation guide, go ahead and download it in the link in the description below, and it's also in the pinned comment. It's free and it's designed to help you feel more confident as you figure out where you want to be. I appreciate you so much for taking the time to watch, and I will see you on the next one.